Yeah, look, I'm not a stock market expert, but I do kind of understand what's happening on Main Street. And here's the issue. It's like we have a boat, and the boat has a big hole in it, and we're taking on water. And instead of worrying about fixing the hole in the boat, we keep bailing the water out, by the way, at $1 trillion a bucket. What business needs on Main Street is they need us to focus on the whole. And that is things like wearing masks. We have to solve the coronavirus. That's what small business needs, not another bailout. Now, look, America has never accomplished anything significant separated. You know, we put a man on the moon, helped to win 2 world wars, built a highway system, cured polio. We did all of that together. The problem is we're trying to fix the hole in the boat as 2 separate nations, like 2 tribes. And we've got a virus that doesn't particularly care who you're going to vote for in November. So we need the leadership in Washington, which is both parties, but let's acknowledge principally the president, to bring us together to fix the coronavirus like they've done in Vietnam and Ireland, most of Europe. I mean, we are running a race for the bottom against Brazil and Russia in terms of who can botch this the most, fix the hole.
Dave, you're talking about things that are not going to happen. Let's just be straightforward. They're not. You're not hearing anything. You're not even seeing the coronavirus task force very often, Dr. Fauci. I mean, the president is tweeting this morning about the Confederate flag and things like that. What in the world would give you the idea that that's suddenly going to change course?
Well, I'm telling you what we need, not what necessarily is going to happen. I don't see a world out there where we're going to lick the coronavirus as a red state and a blue state, battle between 2 countries, or basically is what we have. Is instead of fighting each other, we need to fight the coronavirus. And I hate to be pessimistic here, but I do not believe that we're going to have America reopened as long as we continue on this path, as long as we've got an administration that's calling half of the country evil. We've got a House that can't talk to the Senate. Mitch McConnell said that he wasn't going to entertain anything that the House brings. Anything that was going to happen had to happen on his desk. That's not how we put a footprint on the moon. And that's not who we are as a soul, as Americans. And that's not what small business needs. I mean, and then there's this notion of sort of that Washington, D.C. can tinker with the economy like somehow it's a video game. I was reading how the House said, or the administration said, why don't we drop payroll tax by 7.5%? All of a sudden, people will go back to work. That's ridiculous. A bookstore owner is not going to bring an employee back because he doesn't have to pay payroll tax. To bring an employee back, he needs customers. To have customers, he needs to have the coronavirus licked so Main Street is open so he's got foot traffic.
About this PPP extension and specifically the fact that there's still, upwards of $130 billion up for grabs right now. Why do you think that's the case? I mean, I'm sure there are many small businesses out there that would still be looking to get their hands on some of that much needed cash right now.
Well, there's 2 reasons why there's so much money that's been unaccounted or that hasn't been called on. First of all, the rules are constantly changing. And the problem is that I totally acknowledge that this is unprecedented and it's difficult. But a B-plus plan that's consistent would be a lot better than trying to strive for an A-plus plan that changes every few weeks. So right now, the new PPP extension, instead of giving you 8 weeks, gives you almost half a year. Well, why didn't they do that on the front end? So the first reason is that businesses are not going to take on debt that they might have to pay back when the rules are changing all the time. The second is that the PPP loan and all of these programs come with a bunch of little sort of hooks in there. Like you have to spend it in a certain way and you have to spend it over a certain period of time. And that's not how small business operates. So they're afraid to go take on $250,000 worth of debt, which they may have to pay back to bring back employees that they don't need because they don't have work for the employees.
All right, so David, then wrap this up for me. I mean, we always talk about how you advise over 30 small businesses across the country. You've said what you think they need, but it's not clear they're going to get any of those things in terms of at least a federal sort of response at this point. We're going to continue to move forward. The economy's not going to close. Thankfully, the death rate is lower right now, far lower in some of these states. But what happens if it's just more of the same? What happens to those 30-plus businesses that you advise?
Yeah, so what they need to do is they need to hunker down for the long term. This is not going to be an 8-week recovery program. We've got business that is dependent on seasonality, so that trade show in Nashville that's canceled, it isn't coming back no matter what the death rate is. There's a lot of small businesses who have figured out how to do more with less. They're not going to bring back the same employees. So we as an economy need to settle in for a 6 or 12-month slow recovery. And we need to plan our balance sheets, and we need to plan how we spend our money and what employees we take back on a slow recovery. Not this idea that we're going to blink and it's going to go away. And unfortunately, that's what small business needs to be prepared for.
Okay. Well, David, we appreciate your updates along the way here. Thank you for joining us, David Dotson.
Likewise.